It's breaking news here on NBC 26. I'm John Erickson. We're coming on the air just after 1 o'clock on this Tuesday, as Oshkosh police do say there's going to be a news conference in connection with the officer-involved shooting this morning at Oshkosh West High School. Let's listen in to the update right now.
Dean Smith, D-E-A-N, S-M-I-T-H. So, I'd like to begin by stating that the information that we are providing today is very preliminary, and the investigation into this incident is ongoing. Today at 9:12 a.m., Winnebago County Sheriff's Communications Center received a radio transmission from the school resource officer at Oshkosh West High School, located at 375 North Eagle Street. The radio transmission was garbled, but they were able to hear from the officer who called for help and to send an ambulance. The first responding officer arrived on scene at 9:14 a.m. That's 2 minutes after the call for help, and made immediate entry into the school. It is believed that he went to the school resource officer's location to assist. Additional officers arrived, and the school implemented ALICE procedures, including lockdown. It was determined that there was an altercation at the SRO's office between the officer and a 16-year-old student. Initial reports are that the student produced a weapon and stabbed the officer, at which time the officer fired on the student, striking the student one time. Life-saving measures were provided to both the officer and the suspect in this incident. Officers arriving began to clear the school and ensure the safety of all of the students and school staff. The school was declared secure at 11:18 a.m. A reunification point was established at Perry Tipler Middle School in order to bring parents and students back together. We appreciate the response from our parents and their understanding of the seriousness of this incident and their patience through this process. We anticipate the reunification of parents and their children will be completed no later than 2 p.m. today. There are approximately 1,700 students who attend Oshkosh West High School, as well as numerous teachers and staff members. We believe that there was only one suspect involved in this incident, and this incident was isolated to this encounter. Both the officer and the student were transported to a local hospital and are being treated at this time. Due to the nature of this incident, the investigation has been turned over to the State Department of Criminal Investigations, who will conduct the investigation. It is estimated that there was at least 75 officers from the area on scene. And finally, I would like to thank our partners in public safety and the school district: Oshkosh Fire and Rescue, Winnebago County Sheriff's Department, UWO Police, Neenah Police, Winneconne, Omro, Menasha Police, Wisconsin State Patrol, and the Department of Criminal Investigations, as well as Winnebago County District Attorney. We also received numerous offers of assistance from surrounding law enforcement agencies, and their support is appreciated. I would like to say to the Oshkosh community that the safety of our students is paramount to all of us. We care deeply for the well-being of each of our students, and our officers will do whatever it takes to ensure the safety of those students and the staff at the schools. We ask that you keep our students and our officers and first responders in your thoughts as we also work to bring normalcy to our communities as well. Dr. Cartwright.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Cartwright. I do have with me my board president, Dr. Barbara Herzog, and my board vice president, Kelly Olmstead. Today's incident was a contained situation. First and foremost, we are so grateful for the proactive safety measures in place throughout our district, as well as our partnership with local and state law enforcement. Our students and staff followed our emergency protocols, including our ALICE protocols of alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. We are very thankful for our community partners who took students into their facilities for those individuals that chose to evacuate during today's event. Again, West High School students were evacuated to a reunification site at Perry Tipler Middle School. Students were released to their parents as soon as possible, following the district's reunification protocol used when a school has to be evacuated. We are very grateful to the families of Oshkosh West students for following our safety procedures and their patience and cooperation during the reunification process. Our students' safety is our #1 priority. We are committed to providing a school environment where students can feel safe in mind and body. Today's tragic event shows that trained school resource officers can help save lives. We are grateful for our partnership with our local law enforcement agencies, as well as our trained staff and proactive approach to emergency response within the Oshkosh Area School District. School tomorrow will be canceled. I won't repeat that. Schools will be canceled for all Oshkosh Area School District schools on Wednesday, December the 4th, 2019. We will be communicating with families later today about counseling services that will be available on Wednesday and in the coming days. We will continue to communicate information to our families and ask that all district families check their IC parent portal accounts for additional information. This information will also be available on the district's website as well as our Facebook page. Thank you.
Dr. Cartwright and I will be available for brief questions, and please understand, as it relates to your questions, this is very early. We won't be able to give you any information related to the investigation. I apologize for that, but as you know, the sensitivity of this investigation, we want to make sure that DCI has the opportunity to get it right. So we'll take a few questions.
Chief, you said that they were
One at a time, please. One at a time,
Chief,
sir.
you said that they were in the SRO's office when this altercation took place?
That is our understanding, yes.
Do you know what they were doing?
Not at this time. That's part of the investigation.
Did he have a weapon? Or you said that he had a weapon, but was that weapon a knife? You said that he was stabbed. What
It's our belief that it was an edged weapon at this time.
edged weapon? You're not calling it a knife.
At this time, I don't have that information.
Conditions of the officer and the students.
Both the officer and the student are being treated right now at a local hospital. We believe that their injuries are not life-threatening.
Chief, we heard from students outside the middle school that there was rumors spreading around inside the student body. There was a warning over social media, more specifically Snapchat. Have you all found anything that maybe indicate there was a threat prior to this attack?
And that's still a part of the investigation. I can't speak to that at this time.
Was the
Dr.
suspect a
Cartwright, you
student?
talked
Hold
about
on one second.
choosing
Yeah.
to evacuate. Can you explain that? In your opening statement, you talked about people who chose to evacuate.
So during the ALICE protocol, ALICE, when we train for this, there are such times where it is more practical to evacuate versus going into a lockdown situation. So rather than keeping students in a facility in a lockdown situation and there is a potential person with a weapon, if you are at a position within that facility in order to evacuate, to remove yourself from harm, that is the proper protocol to utilize at that time.
So some of the students did that, and some then hunkered down in their classrooms. We got that information from students, but is that your understanding that it was a mix of responses?
That is correct, and that is exactly what ALICE calls for. And as we know from the research across the entire nation at this point in time, the traditional lockdown method is not necessarily the best method in order to keep students safe. That is why we continuously do training with our students and our staff related to these ALICE protocols.
Chief,
The school resource officer, like, was a
Hold on one second.
current or former police.
Can you
officer.
state that again, please?
Yeah, the school resource officer at the school, is he a current or former police officer?
All school resource officers that are in the Oshkosh Area School District that are within the city of Oshkosh are current Oshkosh police officers. Yes, sir.
Was he stabbed in the left or the right?
I'm not going to speak to his injuries at this time.
was the suspect a current student?
Dr. Cartwright?
The suspect is, yes, a current student at Oshkosh West High School.
Have any other schools received threats? We've also heard rumors that someone said Oshkosh North is next. Do you have anything? That you
It's our understanding that there may be some additional rumors of threats out there. We're still investigating that at this time.
Do you believe that this may have been inspired possibly by yesterday's attack in Waukesha?
That would be a part of the investigation. I can't speak to that.
What kind of conversation should parents, guardians be having with their kids right now?
I think that both the parents and their family members, and this is resonating throughout law enforcement community, throughout the school district, and throughout all the community that embraces all of our students. We care about you. We want you to be safe, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you're going to be okay. This is a tragedy. This is something that no school district, no city, no community wants to face. But together, we're going to come through. We're going to make everybody whole.
Do you know what kind of firearm the SRO uses?
The SRO would carry a 9mm.
Is there only one? Is this the only one at that high school?
That is
Or-
correct.
Do we believe the resource officer acted appropriately?
That's a part of the investigation at this time, and I can't speak to that.
Chief, the student involved, had he previously shot out windows of a car on school property.
Well, that would be a part of the investigation, and I don't have that information. It's still really early in this investigation to share that with you.
Has the student had a history at the school in the past? I'm hearing that he may have been in and out of school getting in trouble.
Well, again, that's going to be a part of the whole package. I wish I could answer that question for you. We're about 4 hours into this, and hopefully some additional information will be coming out for you at a later time.
Chief, I know you talked about
One last
Snapchat a
question,
little bit. Was this a hear something, say something? Were other students alerted to it and went to the resource officer saying, hey, there might be a problem on social media? Was this a see something?
Part of the investigation. I really wish I could tell you that. I don't have that.
Shots were fired by the officer?
Not at this time. All right, thank you very much. And we hope that in the near future we'll be able to have some updates for you from DCI. Thank you.
Thank you.
A news conference just ending at the Oshkosh Police Department, and a lot of new information coming out of this. If you joined that in the middle, here's an update of what's going on. Just after 9 o'clock this morning, Oshkosh Police got the call about an officer-involved shooting at Oshkosh West High School, and what we're learning is that call at 9:12 this morning came from the SRO. You'll hear that acronym a lot today, School Resource Officer at Oshkosh West High School, calling for help. Police say there had been an altercation inside that SRO's office where a current student at Oshkosh West High School, authorities say, stabbed that SRO, and then the SRO shot that student. The SRO is a current officer with Oshkosh Police Department. As far as conditions, we're told police believe they are not life-threatening for either the student or for the officer at this time. 1,700 students at Oshkosh West High School were evacuated to a middle school that is just up the road from Oshkosh West High School. That is Perry Tipler Middle School, and we are told that parents are still waiting at that scene to be reunited with their students. My co-anchor here at NBC 26, Nina Sperano, is outside that middle school right now. As earlier this morning, Nina, there was a long line of parents waiting. Is that still the case right now?
Actually, right now, it's pretty much cleared out. We are seeing some people leaving the school, but as far as the line that we saw earlier today, that has completely cleared out. You can see that behind me. There's just some people exiting the school. Earlier today, you heard the 1,700 students that go to Oshkosh West High School. Imagine at least one parent per kid here lined up around the school, starting at about 10:30 this morning, and by 11:30, they started to filter in just a few parents at a time, probably about 20 parents at a time. They could go into the school, but they had to show up with a photo ID and fill out paperwork to be able to pick up their child and have their child be released into their custody. We talked to dozens of parents, dozens of kids today about what they experienced, how they found out about it. Students reported to us they heard the commotion just a couple classrooms away from where this happened. They followed by screaming and what they thought was someone being shoved up against a locker, later to find out that that was a gunshot. And after that, it was controlled chaos. It was the best way to describe it, because the students were panicked. Of course, the teachers were concerned, but they knew what to do. They go through this protocol. They train for this. Some of the teachers said they had barricaded the doors shut, locking their kids in the room to protect them. Other teachers told the students to run. That was what they said in the press conference. Instead of locking down and keeping them in, the safest thing to do in that situation is to get everybody out of the classroom, get everybody out of the school because of the fear of a weapon inside the school. The parents we spoke with today said they either heard by word of mouth, other people calling, or that phone call from the school letting them know that there was a shooting inside the school. And you can imagine how absolutely terrified those parents are, and terrified the children were. Talking to the children, you could see the tears in their eyes for those moments that they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know if they were safe. They didn't know what to do. And the parents, the time from they heard the phone call from the school, by the time they possibly got a phone call from their child, that's 20, 30 minutes go by where you don't know what's going on. You don't know if your child is okay. Eventually that time passed. They found out that everyone else was okay, and they were able to come down here to Tipler Middle School to pick up their child. That's where that long line around the school, all the way around the school, cars parked as far as you could see. And it still took several hours for those parents to come and collect their child, at least an hour and a half before they started filtering them in. And now the last parents are picking their kid up and heading home. And it's now after 1 o'clock, close to 1:30. That's a long time for them to be standing outside. But everybody I spoke with today said they're very happy with the way this turned out, that the protocol that was followed, the communication to the parents. The only complaints were long lines outside, and it's hard to change that because you're dealing with 1,700 students and all of their parents. So a lot of people happy with the way this was organized, obviously happy with the outcome that all the other students were safe. Even at one point, the school started filtering in water and snacks and pizza and blankets to help comfort the kids and the staff that's inside. They've been inside for a long time. Eventually you get hungry. So it seems like very organized, seems like they've done everything they can to help control the situation and help unravel it so everyone can go home and know that they're safe and be reunited with their family. John?
Nina, the families patiently waiting, you said there, to be reunited with their students who were inside a middle school near that high school after that officer-involved shooting. Nina Sperano outside Perry Tipler Middle School in Oshkosh. Nina, thanks so much. As far as new information we learned in that news conference, some other items here. Only the one suspect involved as far as the students. Police say no other suspects involved as far as they know. And they are not talking about that student's history. There were questions about had there been any previous trouble involving that student. Police not ready to talk about that right now. You can find any new updates here on air on NBC 26 as they warrant. Of course, you can find all the updates throughout the day on our website, NBC26.com, on our Facebook, on our Twitter, on all of those online outlets. Thanks for watching NBC 26. Full coverage tonight at 5 and 6 right here. I'm John Erickson. Now back to your regular program. Thanks for being here.